You shall also love the stranger, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. Deuteronomy 10, verse 19. My family's immigration story is one of religious persecution, cultural discrimination, work migration, and family migration. In 1692, one of my ancestors escaped from prison in Switzerland, imprisoned for his Anabaptist faith. 1729, two brothers landed in the United States. English-speaking custom agents changed their last name. Their faith was still questioned. Their symbols and community celebrations regarded as witchcraft. Still, we thrive. Building bridges arise from relationships, common values, and faith binding together the building blocks of civic action, policies, laws, and political activity. Annually, members of the faith, law, legal, political, and civic communities gather for the Building Bridges Summit, held at the Muslim Educational Trust. Oregon is a state of immigrants. In a nation of immigrants, we are considered a progressive state. Its 177-year history is marked by discrimination. Chinese and blacks could not vote. Japanese Americans could not own real property or obtain business licenses. In 1942, 4,000 Oregonians of Japanese ancestry were in prison despite their American citizenship. Change came in 1987. Oregon sanctuary law passed. Efforts to repeal that law were beaten back in 2018 when Oregon voters rejected the attempt. It is still in force today. This year, laws were enacted aiding families seeking permanent resident status, creating a unified refugee services at the state level, funding immigrant and refugee student success, coordinating local and community-sponsored legal service, protecting sensitive locations, homes, and personal data of immigrants and refugees, requiring law enforcement identification. But there still is a fear on the part of immigrants and refugees that has to be overcome. Fear of access to housing, employment, medical, and education. How can they get assistance if they can't speak the language or understand the customs? Will they be accepted? Then there's also fear on the part of those residing in Oregon and the United States. Assimilation. Why don't they assimilate? They're in the United States. They should know our laws. They should know our language right when they land. There'll be a drain on public resources and indifference. We donate. Let the professionals do the work. As Pope Francis wrote in 2018, a World Day of Peace message, or Migrant Day of Peace message. Migrants and refugees, men and women in search of peace. Building bridges is a first step in finding and building peace. Accompaniment. A group of compassionate volunteers walk alongside immigrants to their court hearings, mandatory enforcement or supervision, check-in appointments, and other legal proceedings. No legal advice can be given, only emotional support and listening ear. We serve families and individuals seeking asylum, temporary protective status, recipients, and lawful permanent residents. The interfaith movement for immigrant justice that I've been involved in coordinates the 8-year-old statewide program. In 2023, 90 accompaniments took place. One volunteer aided over 50 community members. Portland, Oregon is the sole immigration court for 2 states covering 180,000 square miles. Travel times can range from 1 to 8 hours. Fear has increased. Volunteers now drive clients rather than just meeting them, creating car capacity and fuel cost challenges. We must be adaptable with constant court rule and procedural changes. Immigrants relax emotionally and physically when they meet their accompaniers. Relationships form via group chats and with individuals later needing help on new matters. Shared faith and language communication deepen the sense of connection. The court in Oregon has a backlog of 42,000 cases. Processing applications can take from 6 months to over 6 years. Court decisions take an average of 3.5 years to be finalized. There are only 4 judges assigned with a caseload of 6,000 cases per judge. Over the last 2 years, the 2 paid staff members have taken medical leave from around-the-clock work. I stepped away last year for health reasons. It is important volunteers and staff stay grounded to avoid burnout. Though stressful, this is meaningful and joyful for the volunteers and those they go with. It's ready. Statewide, family preparedness clinics safeguard immigrant children's welfare, economic stability by helping their parents or caregivers in completing important legal documents. An estimated 200 families have been aided in the first 6 months of 2026. Monthly clinics are conducted by faith communities and nonprofit organizations relying on 14 to 80 resolute volunteers. They are broken into teams: facilitators, presenters, family guides, attorneys, and notaries. Hospitality, support, care, and safety. Family clinics are not solely about completing documents. They build trust and strengthen bonds between immigrant communities, enhance the safety and well-being and awareness of resources and for all of our community. Advocacy is most effective when it focuses on 1. People, 2. Policy, and 3. Meaningful political action. It is important to know the role of each one of the individuals and groups involved. Advocacy takes place at all levels: city, county, state, and federal. At the community level, 500 individuals marked 145 miles, 2018-2019, resulting in the closure of 2 federal detention facilities. Protection is provided to courthouses, churches, and schools by community members. At the city level, 8 Oregon communities have declared emergencies and passed city bylaws funding support. At the county level, the 2 largest counties, Multnomah and Washington, declared emergencies, responding to federal enforcement activities. At the state level, laws have been enacted supporting refugees and immigrants, which I spoke about previously. At the federal, changes have been stymied by partisanship and punitive executive orders and rules and regulations. Important point. Executive orders are tenuous and the least effective means of action and change. They're subject to judicial review, legal action, and rescission by future administrations. Legislative and rules advocacy are complementary. Passage of legislation is necessary, but not sufficient. Departments then implement those laws that have been passed through rules and regulations. Advocacy is larger than any one person or organization. Community is messy. We can be divided by pride, individualism, false narratives, tribalism, and nationalism masquerading as patriotism. Individuals form communities of faith, spiritual, and human values using their talents and skills effectively and compassionately serving the needs of others. Catholic charities, ecumenical ministries, ERCO, and private lawyers provide free legal aid. The Muslim Education Trust We Care program uplifts individuals and families by connecting them with essential resources and compassionate care. Whoever begins the day feeling secure in his home, healthy in his body, and with enough provision for the day, it is if he were given the entire world. Hadith of the Prophet Muhammad, blessed be his name. If one part suffers, all parts suffer with it. If one part is honored, all parts share its joy. 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 26. And a thank you to Ann Kingery, my wife of 34 years. She is my rock with so much courage and concern for others. Chris Conrad, a fellow accompanier from St. Pius X Parish. Peggy Bryce, fellow St. Juan Diego parishioner. Father Hans Mueller, St. Juan Diego pastor, who emphasizes helping families rather than political agendas. Eddie Melendres, Oregon Food Bank community organizer. From Eastern Oregon, he gave me a broader understanding of organizing. Wajdi Saeed, president and co-founder of the Muslim Educational Trust in Tigard. Musam Alagrib, We Care Program Director, Muslim Educational Trust. Mohammed Al-Qadi, We Care Program Deputy Director, Muslim Educational Trust. Michelle Pistone, Chair of Our Home, Villanova University, and also co-director of the Mother Cabrini Institute for Immigrants and Refugees. Mi comunidad y familia in San Juan Diego. Laura Aguirre, former St. Juan Diego pastoral associate who died in 2025, asked the question, how can I serve the community? Father Francis Chun, my spiritual director, died June 2025. He helped me pursue effective compassion.